When I was at the Thai TESOL conference in January this year, presenting the effects of story listening with a colleague at Walailak University in Thailand, and explaining the optimal input hypothesis, one of the audience members from Japan told me that he had finally understood what the input hypothesis was and what I+1 meant. How many teachers are like the professor from Japan? The theory has often been misrepresented, misinterpreted, or oversimplified. It was passed down secondhand rather than being read in its original form. Many language teachers only hear about it through colleagues, workshops, or textbooks. Such interpretations reduce its core message to something different, sometimes completely different. Are you familiar with the telephone game? One person whispers a message to the first person in line, and then there are 9 people waiting to hear the message one by one. By the time the message reaches the last person, it's always completely different from the original message. Primary sources are essential because they offer first-hand explanations and insights. Secondary interpretations miss the core principles and their true explanations. 2 of the most widespread misunderstandings about the input hypothesis are, firstly, the belief that I+1 refers only to grammatical structures. In reality, I+1 covers other aspects of language as well, including vocabulary, spelling, and more. Story listening can cover pronunciation, accent, intonation, spelling, vocabulary, expressive gestures, facial expressions, grammar, and more. Many years ago, I asked Dr. Krashen what I was in I+1. He pointed to himself and said, I. So, I in I+1 means the person, the language he acquired. So, it is not just grammar. Secondly, teachers may believe that as long as the lesson is comprehensible, it aligns with the input theory. But this is not the case. Listen to what Dr. Krashen says at the beginning of his theory course at my story listening website. The learning approach assumes students can be trained to speak through a series of planned steps with reinforcement. The schedule for producing output is linear. In the learning approach, teaching steps are typically like this: presenting vocabulary and grammar first, often using TPR, providing meaningful input, followed by memorization, controlled practice, comprehension questions, error correction, homework with worksheets, and testing. This reflects mechanical, skill-based conscious learning steps, even when it includes some input. The fundamental difference is that in the acquisition approach, output emerges as spontaneous and voluntary. Learners produce language that reflects their understanding and internalization of the input they have received. This can happen even if the output is just one word or a short sentence. This type of output is driven by the learner's personal desire to communicate and share meaning. It represents a more authentic form of language use. A drawing or synonym doesn't always directly lead to understanding or accurate translation. Instead, it's more like resonance in story listening. Each learner responds differently to the story and the teacher's comprehension aiding supplementation. Acquisition begins when part of the input the teacher provides connects with something students already know. This is when understanding starts and acquisition begins. When this is repeated constantly and abundantly over time, acquisition happens without effort. Language development often happens without students noticing it, without conscious effort or immediate signs. It is a gradual process. As the rich input connects with the learner's growing language skills, their understanding begins to develop. With abundant and consistent optimal input, students will be able to understand things they couldn't understand just a few months ago. And they don't know why they can understand it without studying the language directly. This is a drawing that illustrates what I just explained. In conclusion, primary sources are crucial for ensuring that the true message is understood. Optimal input refers to input that is comprehensible, compelling, and rich in both quality and quantity. When we focus on targeted teaching, we limit the natural ways each student can acquire the language. When pure optimal input is given consistently and abundantly, it encourages deep and lasting growth. The results become clear over time. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to discussing this topic further with you in the future. Goodbye.